All right, hello there, welcome back to another wee bit different video. Today's video, we are doing a tier list ranking where I believe every team belongs with their current state of where they are. For example, we have the Contenders Club, the dark horse to win a championship. Need more time. Maybe you have pieces and your players aren't ready yet, but given more time, you never know how this team could be. Stuck in mid. I could say an example, but I don't want to spoil where I have these teams, but you know what I'm talking about. The teams that are constantly in that playing range, never tanking too hard, never playing too good. You're stuck in mid. Rebuild ASAP. Teams who are not necessarily rebuilding right now, but I believe that they should because they're not going to be able to be Contenders Club. They're not going to be able to be a dark horse. You don't need to give them more time because you know how they are now. So I think that they should rebuild ASAP. No hope anytime soon. Just the teams who are just stuck in a very long rebuild, who do not have any answers right now. It's not a matter of needing more time. It's literally a matter of waiting several years. So we'll see how we have every team here, but let's get straight into it. Okay, so first team here, we have a hot take. I would say the Golden State Warriors need to rebuild ASAP. Now, I know when people hear that, they're thinking it's not going to happen. They have Stephen Curry, and I agree with you. I don't think it's going to happen because they have Stephen Curry. I think they're going to do whatever they can to be competitive with him on the team, just because, you know, why wouldn't you want Stephen Curry as a Golden State lifer? However, if we're talking about what's in the best interest of the team, like just Stephen Curry aside, I don't think that this team's going to be competing anytime soon. I mean, the roster outside of the star players, just not good enough. Plain and simple. You traded Kuminga, you got back Porzingis, who plays once every blue moon. Do I actually think they'll do this though? No, I don't. I think, again, it's as simple as they're going to wait for Jimmy Butler to get back. They're going to try to make a big splash move and hope that they can compete one last time with Steph and maybe be in this dark horse range. But I just don't think they'll be able to make any move that'll fix the rest of the roster. On top of Jimmy Butler is going to come back from an ACL injury. Stephen Curry is only getting older. I personally think in the team's best interest, it would be rebuild ASAP. In the fan base's best interest, probably want to make those trades and be here and hopefully there. But I think they should rebuild. Next team, Portland Blazers. I think this one is pretty straightforward. Need more time. They have developed a lot of players. Damian Lillard's coming back next year, and Denny Avdija is only getting better. Scoot's only, developing more. I'm not saying these guys are going to be, definitive contenders or ever a dark horse, but I can definitively tell you they need more time. They have a lot going on for them. Donovan Clingan's another big piece. They drafted Young Hansen this year. We just have to see how they do, and they have potential. There's pretty much no denying that in my mind. And Shaedon Sharpe has been riddled with injuries this year too, so you get him back next year, and then you just get to see how you do. But Portland Trail Blazers need more time. Brooklyn Nets. I think there's just not any hope for this team anytime soon. You drafted like 6 rookies. MPJ, I'd imagine, is going to get traded like you did with Cam Johnson for, more draft assets. They don't have anything going on in terms of their roster outside of MPJ, maybe a couple of other players, but they're just completely developing their team and they're rebuilding. So it's going to be several years before you see the Brooklyn Nets be competitive. On to the next team, Milwaukee Bucks. They tried to be competitive this year, when waiving Damian Lillard and signing Miles Turner, which even at the time, I said it at the time, I didn't understand that. I was not a believer in Miles Turner as a player that, oh man, he's going to be the guy that helps turn this franchise around. Like, no, I'm sorry, no disrespect, but you saw how he performed in the playoffs. It didn't meet the standards that I'm sure the Pacers would have even liked themselves. And the Bucks just, trade Giannis, trade anyone of value, got to rebuild immediately. I mean, we did a video on this already, but they are just down bad in terms of assets. So they need to rebuild immediately. Chicago Bulls. This one's a weird one because I think they're rebuilding, right? I think they're doing that, but they still have assets that are like, oh, you could trade Josh Giddey for something of value. You could, they're developing Matas Bucelis too. So I don't know. They're the 11th seed, I want to say. Let me confirm this real quick. I want to say they're the 11th seed. So they're definitely not mid. They're just a bad team, but they're not completely tanking. They're the 12th seed, 29-47. So I don't know. I don't see the Bulls doing the right thing and just trading, Giddey and literally anyone else of value. I see them just being mid for the next 4 or 5 years, even though this year they haven't been mid. They're worse than mid. But the Bulls just have handled their assets extremely poorly. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to say about that. This is a really, really bad situation for the Bulls. I want to say borderline no hope anytime soon, because they're not even mid. Like they're really not. They have more, to gain than the Brooklyn Nets. However, the Brooklyn Nets could get a top 4 pick this year, and they also have more assets than the Bulls. So in terms of draft picks, so no hope anytime soon for the Bulls. Cleveland Cavaliers. I think at this point, people have not given them that contender status, and they haven't earned it. They definitively have not earned it. Adding James Harden is a big deal. You could argue they're a contender. I would say they're more of a dark horse. Reason why, because if you look at the contenders, we got one right here. We got the Boston Celtics. They're a definitive contender. If you look at the Cavs versus the Celtics, I think everyone's picking the Celtics immediately. And that's just not including the Knicks or Pistons. So to me, Cavs, they're not in the mix for that top 3. They would definitely be the outside looking in. Could make some noise. Again, adding James Harden gives you some experience. But let's be honest. Let's just say this now, and I've said it several times in the past. James Harden is not a known playoff performer. He has never had success in the playoffs. There's always been something after something after something that he's not meeting a certain standard of his liking, or really the fans' liking. You saw it with the Clippers. You saw it with the Nets. Nets, he had a good excuse. He had the hamstring. But you saw it with the Rockets as well. Just never has had playoff success. It's just plain and simple as that. So can he turn that narrative around? It's definitely on him. If he wants to, this is the time. This is definitely the time. So Cleveland Cavaliers, dark horse. But yeah, Celtics easily contenders. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown leading the way. I didn't think Jason Tatum would be back as soon as he was. We did do a video on it early in the season. Could the Celtics, be contenders? Jason Tatum, they didn't file for a disabled player exception. So it was always a question mark of like, could this guy be back sooner than later? And, he's back. So definitively contenders for the Celtics. Clippers are a weird one because they still have Kawhi. And for as long as they have Kawhi, they'll always be mid. Right? Like, what I mean by mid, because obviously Kawhi's a really great player. The rest of their team's mid, or probably worse than mid. But Kawhi will elevate them from bad to mid. For as long as they have him, they will never be true rebuild contenders. I know they got Darius Garland, but I think they just need to rebuild ASAP. They traded Zubac, which I think they kind of know, like, okay, yeah, we do got to do that. But they also got a really good draft pick out of that. If the Pacers don't land in the top 4, Clippers are getting a 5, 6, 7 pick. If the Pacers do land in the top 4, then the Clippers get, I think, the 2029 pick unprotected. I think it's 29 or 2031. Regardless, they need to rebuild ASAP. Memphis Grizzlies. I mean, they're already rebuilding, if you will. I mean, they traded away Desmond. They traded away Jaren. Ja is the only one left. Trade Ja. I mean, it's time. He's got to go. If you get nothing of value, then, definitely hold him, make him play another season. Try to let him know, like, hey, if you want to go somewhere, you got a ball so we can send you somewhere, because we're not trading you for pennies and nickels, right? It's not ideal at all for the Grizzlies. So they're without hope anytime soon. They just need to acquire some young talent, keeping it going. We got the Hawks. Need more time. They got Jalen Johnson, who is a phenomenal player. They have the Pelicans pick this year, so they're going to get someone really good from the draft class. Other players like Zachary Sashier, Okongwu, Na, definitely a roster that you're going to have to keep your eye on if everyone continues to improve. And then again, that pick is going to be pivotal, very pivotal. The Heat, to me, are a team that I just don't see rebuilding, right? I think they are just a team who's always going to want to compete. Would I say they should rebuild? I don't know, because Eric Spoelstra has always found a way to do something. right? To do something. So definitely in a weird situation. Bam, Tyler. I think Tyler's got to go. I don't think he really fits well with Norman Powell. I think that's just a weird combination. Jaime Jaquez is a valuable piece off the bench. But yeah, I don't know. I think the Heat are just always going to be a team that are just a middling team. Every now and then they might make a run, but they don't really have someone to help them make that run like a Jimmy Butler. So maybe they should go to rebuild ASAP, but I think that there's a team that they've been there in this situation where it's constantly playing. Hornets to me are clear as day, need more time. I mean, Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball, Conka Nipple, those three are the three-headed snake of this roster. Very good trio. LaMelo, if he can stay healthy, very good. But we got to see how the rest of the roster fills out. They have so much young talent, and they've just acquired Kobe White. So how do they pick things up from here? I think a lot of it is just being healthy, but also continuing to monitor the growth of Conka Nipple. He's the rookie, probably going to win Rookie of the Year, and then Brandon Miller. And then LaMelo just needs to stay healthy. Keeping it going. Utah Jazz need more time. They just traded for Jaren Jackson. They've been sitting Lauri Markkanen all season, Walker Kessler, Keontae George. They've been sitting guys on purpose, and with this mindset of we just need to tank and then get that pick inside of the top 8 so we can keep it. And so they're going to get a really good rookie. Now we got to see what they do next year. They need more time. We'll see how they do. That's going to be an interesting team to watch. Sacramento Kings. I'm sorry, Sacramento. The way that they handled the trade with De'Aaron Fox, they clearly need to trade Sabonis. They need to trade literally any asset they have left and truly just rebuild. Although they've already been really bad, so this is a rebuild. It's just gone terribly because you're not starting off in a good place. When you make that trade or trades with other teams, you think you get something more valuable back, and they really didn't. Los Angeles Lakers, I gotta say, if Luka is indeed hurt for a long time, they're screwed. And they don't really belong in any of these categories other than maybe need more time if Luka's out for a while, because Luka is the franchise. I mean, it's as simple as that. Assuming Luka can play in the playoffs, and I guess we'll find out more, they would be a dark horse. I don't consider them a contender like OKC or the Spurs, maybe even the Nuggets, but I will definitively say they do belong in the dark horse because the expectations aren't there. But anytime you have Luka on a roster, and I've said this time and time again, you have a chance. Like blatantly. We saw with the Mavericks run. You still have LeBron James, who elevates his game when he needs to, and Austin Reeves, who has performed well in the playoffs in the past. Last year, not so much because he was dealing with the injury, but we'll see. I definitely have to say they're at least dark horses, bare minimum. Orlando Magic, this is a weird one. This is a really weird one because they're going to be a play-in team, but they've been missing Franz and Anthony Black. Jalen Suggs has been dealing with injuries all season. He's back now, but they also need a new head coach. I don't know. I want to say they are probably going to be in need more time because they also have Desmond Bain. Like, the roster is too talented to be an 8th seed, in my opinion. I just think they're way too talented. But changes need to be made. Paolo needs to improve. Is this the best of Paolo we've seen? I mean, what is he, only like 23? I'm going to say need more time. I think the roster's too talented. Dallas Mavericks they have Cooper Flagg, right? Anytime you have Cooper Flagg, player of his caliber, no matter how the rest of the roster fits out, are they going to be waiting some years? Yes. I don't think you put them in no hope anytime soon because you have Cooper Flagg. Are they in rebuild? But no, this is rebuild ASAP. So, and they're not stuck in mid because, again, they're still in that rebuild process. I would just say, they need more time. You have Cooper Flagg. He's looking insanely good. And you can build on that. And you have other pieces who are really, really, belonging of a team that needs more time. Not necessarily a bad place to be for an organization compared to these other teams. So, we'll see how this one pans out. They also could get a high pick this year. We'll see how that goes. Knicks are definitively contenders. You saw what they did to the Celtics when the Celtics did have their pieces last year. They beat them. Granted, JT got hurt in game 4 or 5. Regardless, I think he got hurt game 4, and then they went down 3-1. Regardless, though, Knicks beat them. Celtics have every right to, be contenders, but the Knicks also do too. No matter how you feel about them and Mike Brown or Jalen Brunson or Cat, whatever the case, they're still contenders because of what they did last year. The Nuggets, to me, you have a playoff merchant in Jamal Murray, although he's been having a great regular season. So he's kind of changed the narrative to just a good player, but just an insanely good playoff player as well. And then you have the best player in the world in Nikola Jokic. He's not going to be the MVP, but he's the best player in the world. So Nuggets will always be contender. And that's not even including the fact that they've been dealing with injuries. Aaron Gordon has missed time. Payne Watson has missed time. Cam Johnson has missed time. Everyone on that roster, I feel like, has missed time, honestly. Like, they've just dealt with so many injuries. But Nuggets are always contenders. OKC is the contender. They're the top dog. There's no doubt about it. I mean, honestly, insane. Their roster from top to bottom, we talked about it when we did the draft expansion and talking about teams who would have players taken away. The Thunder would have players taken away. They have more than 8 players who teams would be like, oh yeah, I want that player. They're just insanely talented, and Shea's going to be MVP for the second year in a row, so Thunder are scary. Honestly, Thunder are very scary. Pacers need more time, right? Tyrese is out this year. They're playing low this year. A lot of injuries this year. Next year, they get Zubac, Tyrese, and either a top 4 pick, or they keep their pick in 2029 or 2031, whatever it was. Pelicans, to me, just need to rebuild ASAP. You've seen what these draft picks have come out to be, except from Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen. But Zion, this is the most he's played. I think this is the most he'll probably ever play. They're clearly trying to make sure he just stays healthy as much as possible. Trey Murphy, really good player. Herb Jones, really solid role player. But it just hasn't worked for this team. I don't see how next year is going to be any different from this year. They don't get their first round pick. I say you start trading away some players and hope that Derek Quinn and Jeremiah Fears turn out to be something special, because, yeah, it hasn't been good for the Pelicans. I mean, you're this bad and you're not even tanking. All these other teams are tanking. You're not even tanking and you're this bad, which is just unfortunate. 76ers, I think they're a dark horse. And the reason why, pretty easy for me to say, is if Joel Embiid's healthy, Paul George is playing the way he's playing, Tyrese Maxey is a top player in the league, one of the top players in the league. I'm not saying top 5, definitely not top 5, but he's definitely like top 15, top 10. You got a chance. Nick Nurse has proven before that he can win a championship, so can't really question the leadership in regards to his ability to get it done. And he's not a Doc Rivers, right? Doc Rivers really just had all the talent in the world with Boston. It's not like Nick Nurse has had a Boston type team where they're just that insane. So I would say definitively a dark horse. I like the Sixers as a dark horse. Not contenders, but if Joel Embiid can play every game in the playoffs, you got a shot. Pistons, easily a contender as long as Cade is back and he's healthy. That is the biggest, most important thing for the Pistons. If Cade is back, you're a contender. If Cade is not, you need more time, because you're not even a dark horse without Cade. Cade is definitively a must for any championship run. The Raptors are in a weird spot where I don't think they have like a generational player on their roster. They got a lot of good players on their roster. I think they're missing the it factor. You look at Scotty Barnes, and I don't think he's not a Shea, he's not a Cade, he's not a Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, he's not a Jokic, he's not a Jalen Brunson, he's not a Donovan Mitchell, he's not a Luka. You get what I'm saying? I don't think he's any of those, and I think they're missing that guy. So are they going to get that guy to thin air? No. But there's still a roster whom is young and is still developing, and they got some pieces I think they should trade away. It's going to be weird to see what the Raptors do, because like I said, they're in an interesting situation to where they're not a dark horse. They're not winning the championship. It's not happening. Other teams are just way too talented and much more skilled and much more experienced. So Toronto, yeah, we need to see a little bit more time from them and see how things pan out. Houston Rockets need more time. They're not contenders or dark horses this year simply because they just lack a playmaking guard who can just settle down the offense and shoot a 3 ball. And Fred VanVleet would have made them dark horses. Fred VanVleet being out was actually just detrimental. Steven Adams being out from here to here, it's just detrimental to have those two pieces missing. I mean, you see it. This team struggles in late games. They have collapses, and they have guys who are really good players but don't necessarily fit together. Sengun and Amen Thompson is a rough matchup, or a rough mix, I should say, because neither of those guys can shoot, and they're two really good players. So it's an issue. In the playoffs, it will always be an issue when you have guys who can't shoot, because now you can put Wembanyama on Amen Thompson and just have him roam around and protect the paint, right? So Spurs would wipe the floor with the Rockets. Thunder would wipe the floor with the Rockets. I think the Lakers would wipe the floor with the Rockets. The Rockets are just in a spot where they're missing, if they had their full roster, they would be legitimate dark horses. Steven Adams and Fred VanVleet turned this roster to a dark horse. But injuries, they're damning. And then the vibes. I don't bring it up often, but the whole thing with KD, it's not good. Spurs, I just don't even need to say anything. They're contenders. I think they're the only team in the West that could possibly challenge OKC. Maybe Nuggets, if things go right completely. But the Spurs, to me, are just scary. Spurs, Wembanyama is just... I truly believe that the Spurs team is extremely scary. The only thing I think going against them, and I think this is a big deal, same with the Pistons, is experience. I know you hear that word and you're like, what the hell are you talking about experience for? No, seriously, historically speaking, teams, when they get to the playoffs for the first time, have no success. What I mean by no success is they don't ever win or anything like that. I think the team that was closest with little experience was the Thunder, but I mean, that's it. You got to get there and experience it before you can have any success in the playoffs. And it's just something that's been historically true. Could Wembanyama be the breaker of that trend? Could he close that off and say I'm different? It's possible. I'm not going to say it's not, but historically speaking, it's very unlikely that the Spurs and Pistons win. But we'll see. We'll see. They could change history, right, and be someone that breaks that trend. Phoenix Suns, to me, are just... They're in a weird spot. They got Devin Booker for five years, and they don't have any generational player coming up. They don't have any young talent who you're just like, oh man, this guy. The Suns aren't... Yeah, they're stuck. They play really hard. Good coach that is making the most out of this roster. They're stuck. And I don't know how you go about this. You could rebuild, and honestly, if I was the Suns, I probably would. But I don't think they will. I truly don't think they will. And the difference between the Warriors and the Suns is the Warriors are just kind of old, or the rest of the roster isn't good enough. The Suns have a good enough roster to just be stuck in mid, and they have a good enough roster to make themselves not want to tank. So they're in a really weird position. I think they're stuck in mid. Keeping it going, though, Wizards. We'll see them next year. They got AD and Trae Young on the way. Trey Johnson, Alex Sarr. Players like that developing. I'm missing another one. Bilal Coulibaly, another big piece. I think they have so many players developing. And then you add Trae Young and AD to that equation. They're going to be in the playoffs next year if they're healthy. For sure. I don't even think it's a question. On top of another top 4 pick, possibly. They get a number 1 pick. Damn. Wizards would actually be very interesting, but they're getting a high pick. So let's see what it is, and they need more time, and we'll see how that goes. Timberwolves, they're dark horses. For as long as you have Anthony Edwards and as long as he's healthy, the Timberwolves will always be dark horses, because Anthony Edwards is just, he's an it factor. He's an X factor. He's the guy who can take over. I talk about Luka Doncic like, oh, this guy can go crazy. He can do work. It's the same thing with Anthony Edwards. He can go crazy in a playoff series and just take over. And it's going to be very difficult for any team to just be pulling off any 4-0 or anything like that against the Timberwolves as long as Anthony Edwards is in the mix. So against the Thunder in particular, man, I don't know. Thunder are just scary because they've proven it, right? You're talking about proven teams. It's Boston. It's the Thunder. It's the Nuggets. Everyone else... Not proven. Let me know what you guys think, though. I really appreciate you guys for watching. This is one of those videos to where I'm talking for a while. I'm talking about every team, and you guys get to see that I truly do watch every team because, yeah, I focus on all the teams. It's what I do. But I really appreciate you guys for watching. For the like, subscribe, it goes a long way to help the channel. If you disagree with the ranking, let me know. Let me know where you would rank a team instead. This is I'll Be Different. I'll Be Different, and we out.